Good evening. The second day of the filing of certificates of candidacy for the 2025 national and local elections has come to a close. To give us updates, John Eric Mendoza is joining us live from Manila. Eric, any prominent politicians and personalities who filed their COCs today?
Yes, Neil, among those who filed their COCs today are incumbent and returning politicians. Reelectionist Senator Amy Marcos was joined by her mother, former First Lady Imelda Marcos. Marcos supporters were also present to cheer Senator Amy. They were accompanied by a marching band. The senator said she remains in the Nacionalista Party despite begging off to be part of the administration's slate. However, Marcos did not categorically answer if she is seeking the endorsement of Vice President Sara Duterte. Senator Lito Lapid and former Senators Tito Soto and Panfilo Lacson also filed their COCs. After filing, Lapid did not grant reporters an interview. On the other hand, Soto bared his proposal on right-sizing, including budget reform. Meanwhile, Lacson said he is a perfect fit for the administration as a fiscalizer in the Senate. He was also asked if he would push for parliamentary courtesy for the office of the Vice President during budget hearings. Lacson said that while it's a time-honored tradition, there's no way for senators to be prevented from asking questions. As for party list groups, Magdalo and a handful of nominees lodged their certificate of nomination and acceptance today. Magdalo first nominee Gary Alejano said there's a big possibility for him to file impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte, just like he did to former President Rodrigo Duterte. Neil, the COC filing also attracted curious personalities. A traveling enforcer, a man who claimed to be an heir to the Marcos family, and a woman who vowed to curse Comelec should it declare her a nuisance candidate, again joined today's event. The appearance of internet personality Deo Balbuena, popularly known as Diwata, also came as a surprise. Balbuena is the fourth nominee of Vendor's party list. However, party list group could only win no more than 3 seats, making it unlikely for Balbuena to have a seat in the 20th Congress. Neil?
Eric, meron lang akong katanungan. Kanina, pinapanood ko yung mga videos kasi after nila mag-file dyan ng COC, I believe, nag-ano sila, they are given the opportunity to say their piece and then maybe take questions from the media. And kanina, isa dun sa mga napanood ko na aspiring candidates mentioned na 2 beses na siyang tinatanggal ng Comelec doon sa final list ng mga kandidato sa eleksyon. And this is the 3rd time na tatakbo siya para sa pagka-senador. And na-mention niya, and she claimed that the reason given to her by Comelec for being removed from the official list of the candidates ay yung pagiging mahirap daw niya. Sinasabi nga niya kanina, ang supporters daw niya, siya ay mahirap para sa mahirap. So, ano ang masasabi ng Comelec dito sa mga allegations of them removing candidates because of their inability to support their campaign?
Yes, Neil. Na-address dito ng Comelec earlier, si Comelec Chairman George Erwin Garcia, sabi niya, wala naman silang karapatan at hindi pinapayagan ng ating saligang batas na tutulan o hadlangan ng mga tao na gustong tumakbo pa maglingkod sa bayan, na tumakbo sa sumalang sa larangan ng politika. Pero kasi kailangan natin maintindihan, maraming limitasyon, di ba, na kailangan din silang isaalang-alang. Halimbawa, yung number ng kandidato, syempre, limitado ang number ng balota na pwedeng ilagay. So, hindi pa natin alam sa ngayon at aalamin pa natin itong eksaktong circumstances dito nga sa sinasabi mong kaso kung saan na siya daw ay disqualified dahil siya ay mahirap. Ngunit, ang mga common kasi na dahilan kung ba't nadi-disqualify ang isang kandidato is yung inability to launch a nationwide campaign. So, syempre, alam naman natin kapag kailangan mo ng makinarya, kailangan mo ng pera, so mahirap tumakbo kung wala ka nga naman pera. Pero wala naman kasing official na sinabi na talagang barred ka dahil mahirap ka, Then, may mga ibang reason din kasi na ang exact term ng Supreme Court is yung putting mockery into our election system. So, hindi kasi clearly defined kung ano ba yung sinasabi ng Supreme Court na mockery. So, it's now up to the Comelec kung paano nila i-define yun. So, again, this is case-to-case basis. may mga candidates or may mga aspirants rather na inaakyat nila sa Supreme Court yan at kinakatigan sila ng korte. So ayun, case to case basis ito at sa ngayon aalamin natin kung ano ang exact circumstances na kumapaloob dito sa instance na ito ni.
Kasi Eric, meron tayong tinatawag na nuisance candidates, no? So, paano ina-identify ba ng Comelec whether an aspiring candidate is a legitimate candidate or a nuisance candidate?
Alright, so meron kasing masasabi natin na hindi ganon ka clear-cut yung distinction with the nuisance candidate dahil una, tulad nga na nabanggit ko kanina, itong operative word is making a mockery, hindi ba? So, sinabi na ng Comelec na it's up to them to define the word mockery according to Chairman Garcia kanina. May instances kasi, for example, in local elections, may mga pinapatakbo na for example, same surname, same first name, 'di ba? So parang magkakaroon
Yung
ng
mga
to create confusion.
one-letter differences lamang para ma-confuse
like,
yung mga
before,
voters.
'di ba? Correct. Like yung kay Ruel de Gamo, one-letter difference ito yung sa may Negros Oriental,
Yep.
Then meron din itong mga cases, itong isang animal welfare advocate na inakyat niya sa Supreme Court yung kaso niya dahil dineklara siya ng Comelec as nuisance candidate dahil una siya ay isang independent candidate at wala siyang party and yun nga na hindi siya kilala. So nag-rule lang court noon na parang hindi sapat na basehan nito na dahil wala kang party at hindi ka well known ay may ideklara ka na nuisance candidate. So nila safe to say na case to case basis yung mga ganitong instances sa pagkakadeklara sa nuisance candidate.
Okay, maraming salamat Eric. That's John Eric Mendoza reporting live from Manila. Magdalo party list may file an impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte if it wins a seat in the House of Representatives. During the second day of candidacy filing in Manila Hotel Tent City, Magdalo party list first nominee Gary Alejano says there is a big possibility that he will file an impeachment complaint against the Vice President after he has observed constitutional violations done by Duterte. Alejano also says the Magdalo party list would let the other members of the House file an impeachment rap against Duterte first.
Kung meron naman hong ibang miyembro ng Kongreso na magpa-file ng impeachment, ay pwede ho natin silang hayaan. Pero kung kinakailangan at tawag ng panahon na magpa-file at wala nang ibang magpa-file, gaya nung nakaraang administration, tatayuan po na ang Magdalo po yan.
At the deliberations on the Office of the Vice President's proposed budget for 2025 last August 27, Duterte claimed that a friend of hers had a recording of lawmakers discussing the impeachment complaint against her, but lawmakers have denied Duterte's claims. In 2017, Alejano filed an impeachment complaint against former President Rodrigo Duterte before the lower chamber as he accused the ex-chief executive of giving up the Philippine sovereign rights over Benham rice to China. Dismissed Bamban Mayor Alice Go has been granted permission by the Pasig Regional Trial Court to undergo a medical checkup, according to the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. In a press briefing on Wednesday, October 2, BJMP spokesperson J. Rex Joseph Bustinera says Go's medical checkup was an initiative from the BJMP following the suggestions from senators during Go's last hearing. According to Bustinera, they are still coordinating with the hospital regarding the checkup schedule. He adds that it will depend on whether Go still wants to proceed with the medical checkup or not. Bustinera further says that Go is currently healthy and no other concerns have been noted so far. On September 23, the Philippine National Police said a suspected infection was detected in the left lung of Go. The infection was detected after the PNP required Go to undergo a medical checkup before being transferred to the custody of BJMP. Go is currently in the custody of the BJMP at the Pasig City Jail Female Dormitory. Senate President Francis Escudero says the approval of the General Appropriations Bill on the 2025 national funding may be done by the first or second week of December. According to Escudero, the Senate is on track to finish the committee deliberations on some agencies' budgets. The schedule is based on Escudero's discussion with Senator Grace Poe, who heads the Senate Finance Committee and the Legislative Budget Research and Monitoring Office. Escudero says the House of Representatives will also submit the General Appropriations Bill on October 25. Once the House transmits the General Appropriations Bill by October 25, Escudero says the Senate will be ready to file a committee report once the session resumes on November 4.
Kung tunay nga masubmit nila na October 25 yon, nakaschedule kami na i-file ang committee report pag-resume namin ng November 4 at inaasahan namin na by November 6 at the latest, kung makatsamba November 5 the following day, ay masusponsoran na ang panukalang budget ng 2025. Baka masimulan na rin namin ang interpellation sa general principles ng November 5 or 6 at magpapatuloy ang plenary debates the following week.
According to the Senate leader, they need to transmit the consolidated measure on the 2025 funding to the Palace for the President's approval before the Senate goes on break on December 20. The proposed 2025 national budget amounts to 6.3 trillion pesos. This figure is a 10.1% increase from the current national budget of 5.7 trillion pesos. Department of Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla is personally urging top officials of Timor Leste to continue cooperating with the Philippines in bringing home expelled Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnolfo Arnie Teves Jr. to face his charges. According to a statement released by the DOJ on Wednesday, October 2, Remulla paid a state visit to Timor Leste President Jose Ramos Horta and top officials on October 1. During their meeting, Remulla expressed hope that the government of Timor Leste would maintain its cooperation with the Philippines in facilitating Teves' return in the country. According to Remulla, the case of Teves is about delivering justice under the rule of law and ensuring that those responsible for heinous crimes are held accountable. He adds that while the Philippines respects the sovereignty and legal processes of Timor Leste, the country will remain steadfast in pursuing justice for the victims in the Philippines. Teves is facing 10 counts of murder, 12 counts of frustrated murder, and 4 counts of attempted murder for the March 4, 2023 attack that killed Governor Roel Degamo and 9 others. Teves is also facing murder charges for the deaths of 3 persons in Negros Oriental in 2019. He has also been designated a terrorist by the Anti-Terrorism Council. His assets in the Philippines have been ordered frozen. At least 23 people were killed in a devastating fire of a school bus carrying kindergarten to teenagers in Thailand on Tuesday, October 1, according to local police authorities. The huge fire engulfed the bus on a highway in northern Bangkok suburb as it carried 38 children ranging from kindergarten to young teenagers, together with 6 teachers on a school trip. Trai Rong Phiu Pan, head of the Police Forensic Science Office, reported that they have found 23 bodies inside the bus. According to Trai Rong, the victims' bodies were badly burned. They will need to conduct DNA testing to identify the bodies. Meanwhile, acting National Police Chief Kitrat Phan Pet said the police are now hunting the driver of the bus who fled the scene. Some of the children who survived suffered horrific burns to their faces, mouths, and eyes. The bus was one of 3 carrying children from Wat Khao Phraya Sangkaram School in the northern province of Uthai Thani on a field trip to a science museum in northern Bangkok. According to local officials, the bus incident is believed to have begun when one of the bus tires burst on the highway around 12:30 p.m., sending it crashing into a barrier and triggering the inferno. Piala Kathinkeo, who led the search, reported that the fire started at the front of the bus. It is believed to be the deadliest road accident in a decade in Thailand, which has one of the worst traffic safety records in the world with around 20,000 fatalities a year. These are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.